Hello there. Welcome back to Limitless Nerd, and I am here with another awesome guest. We have General Kenobi's bunker with us today. How's it going, man? Thank you for being here.
No, I appreciate you for the invite, man. It's going good. It's going good.
So, I want to start off with, a good place to start for everybody, no matter what kind of content you make in the Star Wars world. Everybody has their Star Wars journey. So, where
For
did
sure.
your Star Wars journey begin? Where were you introduced to it? What's your origin story as far as Star Wars in your life?
Yeah, man, absolutely. So it's a two-part answer, right? So I was introduced to Star Wars at a very early age. I have, he's still around, an uncle that is 10 years older than I am, right? So when I was a kid, I'm basically the first one of like my generation, right? Like of the, I guess the nephews or the grandkids, whichever way you want to see it. So I'm the oldest of that, new generation in our family. And so he was into comics, he was into sci-fi, not a whole ton, but definitely into comics. And he liked Star Wars, right? He had actually gone to see them, in theaters, the OG trilogy, right, and all that stuff. So fast forward to I'm more or less a toddler at that point, like maybe 5 or 6, and he actually gifted me like his last two toys, that he had left, from when he was younger, of course, which is a Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight, which I still have, and a mini rig, the that like comically long two cannon, like with a little canopy. um they were like, Luke never had accessories, right? Like it was just the Luke. I never had a lightsaber, I never had the the robe. And the mini rig, it wasn't years, it was years until I found out that thing used to, like, supposed to have a canopy. Mine never did, and
Yeah.
the cannons were broken off, so they were like little stubs like that, which I also have still, by the way. But anyway, um and he would more or less tell me like the story and stuff. But again, I was little. That stuff, was way over my head, but I liked the toys. um so I those were always kind of in my mixture of, in the toy box, right? Like they were always kind of around. Fast forward, and I'm a lot older, and the special editions come out, and we're talking about, I'm gonna date myself, but this is back in 97. All right.
Yeah.
um yeah, 97, the trilogy comes out, special editions, and they show him in theaters, right? And so I got to see, um I got to see Empire Strikes Back, and I want to see Return of the Jedi. I did not see A New Hope in theaters, and I really liked them, right? But I'm gonna be 100% honest. Like they didn't like blow me away, or like, holy smokes, what is this? Like, I really liked them and I really enjoy them, and I wanted to see them again. And so I remember my dad went down to our video club. Kids, Google what that is. Don't worry about it. But we used to rent tapes
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
Um, Now my family, we were always, I always like to say that we were holding on for dear life to be middle class, but sometimes we were, I feel like we were punching above our weight, right? My
Yeah.
point is that we had a Betamax, and it was old even by my time, right? Okay, like it was already old, like, but we couldn't afford to transition to VHS quite yet. So there's a very limited amount of Betamax, tapes, right, at our video club. Luckily, uh, some, like, there was probably six of the tapes. Three of them were Star Wars. And thinking about it now, I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure those were like the theatrical releases, back then,
Yeah.
which are very hard to come by, as I'm sure
Yeah.
everybody here knows. But anyway, the point is that my dad went out and rented the trilogy, and so I got to see it. And I remember I saw it those maybe like 3 times. Again, back then you had a set period of time, right, that you could keep the tapes before incurring, so the wrath
Yeah.
of the video store owner. Anyway, but like I said, so I did like them. The toys were coming out, Power of the Force 2. Yes, those ugly hulking, He-Man-esque
Yes.
figures, right? But the
Yeah.
vehicles were pretty good, because they were reusing
Yeah.
some of the molds, and
Yeah.
some of them were updated with electronics. And I was like, dude, I really like this. Again, couldn't afford them though, but I was always looking at them, at Walmart and stuff. But then fast forward a couple of years later, and episode one hits, right? And that's the one that I was like, all right, this is it. This is for me. All right, like this is, and again, I've said it before, but maybe it was a combination of uh being in the moment, being in the publicity storm that episode one
Yeah.
was. Like,
Oh yeah.
I know, like, maybe by today's standards, you're like, dude, you guys didn't have social media. I'm like, that's why. Like,
Yeah.
that's why they made it even bigger. I feel like it
Oh
was on
yeah.
newspaper, it was on magazines, it was on billboards. Like, you couldn't go two steps without seeing something, with the red logo, Star Wars,
Yep.
and probably Darth Maul face, right?
Yeah.
I watched the movie, fell in love with it. Yes, I understand, by today's standards, not that great, but I was in love with it, right? Like, I love that thing.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of it for me. Going ahead, but or fasting forward, episode two, I was all in, dude. I was trying to read the comic books by that point. I was already buying the toys for sure. So yeah, episode one was kind of the the point where I'm like, no, this
Yeah.
is definitely part of my life now. Like, this is
Yeah.
this is for me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize, like, back then, now movies come out and, they just come out and you go
Hmm.
see them and that's it. But I mean, I remember, a little bit about Phantom Menace, but definitely like Revenge of the Sith. Like, it it took over the world.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
and I mean, like, you couldn't go to Burger King without seeing, the Burger King toys, and
exactly.
if they could stick a Star Wars logo on it, they would.
Oh, dude, I mean,
Back then.
toothbrush,
Yep.
like hand cream lotion, like, the
Hmm.
randomest thing,
Yeah.
but it had Star
Yeah.
Wars, like, I don't know, like bubble bath, like the soap for
Hmm.
for your
Yeah.
for your tub and stuff. It had Star Wars on it. Like,
Yeah.
it was a little bit
Yeah.
ridiculous now looking back on it, but man, it
Yeah.
was like, so again, like that setting, right? Like that sort of that feel that you're like, dude, this is
Yeah.
amazing. This is, it's huge. And like you said, right, this is permeating everything in media. Like, it was just that
Yeah.
build up. And you're absolutely right. I don't feel that we got that today, you know,
No.
not even close, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's definitely a time that I miss for sure.
yeah.
But when did the passion for Star Wars that you so clearly had by that point, when did that turn into, I want to talk about it on the internet? Because, I don't know if you've noticed,
Oh
but
Lord.
talking about Star Wars on the internet can be a very can be a
Tough.
dangerous thing to do.
Oh yes, sir. And I got a couple of fun comments that I've gotten. But anyway, it was a lot later. Okay, yeah, I'm talking about. I'm already married. I already have a kid. I am. I don't. I should have prefaced this whole thing by saying that I'm old. I don't know if you guys couldn't tell by me mentioning a Betamax, but I'm old. Okay, so this is okay. So, like many people, right? 2020 hits with the pandemic. Everything changes in the world, right? We're all kind of uh, you know reeling, right, or trying to find our way. And so, to be like super honest with you, that was like one of the first things that I'm like, man, I should really start my channel. I'm just here. I'm in the room already, not this room, but my collection room back then. And I'm like, why not, just grab a figure, record something, talking about it, right? I wasn't even thinking like actual review. I just like, oh, this is Qui-Gon Jinn and he was Obi-Wan's master, and like just simple stuff like that, right? I was like, ah, that sounds kind of fun. But like as we do, I guess, as creators, I kept overthinking it, right? I kept overthinking it.
Yes.
I'm like, whoa, but what would be, my channel name? What would be, whatever, my intro, my outro. I was like, I wonder if I, dude,
Hmm.
and that sent me off on a trip for months. Not even joking, like
Me
months and
too.
months, dude. And and so I got laid off, right? And so I was like, man, now I have the time, right? Like now I have the time. But mind you, of course, everything in the world is like burning, right? Like everything is going bad. And I'm like, well, like dang it, man, now I don't have a job. I'm not buying as much stuff, obviously, as before. I'm like, "Ah, maybe I shouldn't, I shouldn't do this." And so I start like talking myself out of it, basically. And another couple months go by, right? So finally, I land a new job, the one that I'm still in, by the way, and I'm gonna have to move, right? I'm gonna have to move cities, for it. And so amongst that entire chaos of, I have to relocate my family, I gotta leave, basically my hometown. I'm moving to a bigger city. I'm like, you know what could make this easier? Launching a YouTube channel. So there I go, dude, at the absolute
Yeah.
worst possible time, right? When I have
Yeah.
zero like free time, I'm trying to figure out logistics for my entire life, and my family, of course. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna launch a YouTube channel, and there I go. So that was back in June of 2021. That's how long I took, just for perspective. June of 2021, and it went horrible. Like I did so bad. Um,
Yeah.
Even by today's standards, right? Because let's be honest, there's a lot of content creation, obviously, these days, and it's very hard to find your voice, right? To find your niche, even within a niche, right? Like,
Yeah.
again, I don't have to tell you, but dude, it took me 5 months, 5 months to get 100 subscribers. That's like,
Yeah.
I wanted to give up immediately. I was like, this sucks. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? It's supposed to be fun, right? So, uh,
Yes.
back then, I started documenting the move because I was packing up, my entire collection. So I'm like, all right, guys, today we're gonna go through our Black Series stuff, right? Like, so we're putting, these 30 figures into this one box. I don't know how, but they're gonna have to fit. And that was kind of a video, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, tomorrow is gonna be TBC, right? So we're gonna have to pack, these 50 figures, and again, right, because they need to go in like 2 days, like I need to ship them out. So that was kind of what got me, a little bit into the groove of things, right? Like of actually like creating. But yes, absolutely, too long answer to your question, but
Yeah.
June 2021 is when I launched my channel. And then super pro, dude. I made the channel and I'm like, I haven't filmed anything. I don't have a video. So for like a week, it just
Yeah.
sat there,
Yeah.
barely had a title. I had chosen my name already, which is the same one that I still have. And that took me like a week, dude, to like finally decide. I'm like, no, yeah, I'm gonna call it this. Um, and it took me like another week to I'm like, okay, I gotta figure out how to make a video, right? And so, uh, the
Yeah.
whole thing, right? Like, cell phone sounds like crap. Okay, I think I need to get closer, whatever. I bumped the tripod as I was moving. Oh my lord, like just so much stuff, right? Like nobody
Yeah.
can see my face. It's all dark. So all of that stuff, right? Took me like a week to finally put. I don't want to lie to you, but I think it's like a 3 minute video, like my first one. It's like, and I was holding like, that video probably has like, like 12 hours in production, like, and for that like 3 minute video.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was back in June 2021. So I it was one of those things, to be honest with you, that I had talked myself out of years ago. I'm like, who am
Yep.
I to inflict my views, on the world?
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, like I said, everything changed, and obviously many people thought the same thing, um, and jumped on it, right? But and to be fair, I should have jumped on it when most people did too, but. Uh, as I mentioned, I overthought like everything, dude. It took me forever.
Yeah. I mean, I relate to that in so many ways. I mean, this channel's existed for 7, 8 months, and I've been thinking about this exact show for I I'd say years
Yeah.
before before actually getting here. And I'm also the person that wants to overthink
Yeah.
everything of what's the logo going to be, what's the name going to be, what's the this, that, and the other thing going to be, before I was like, I just got to do it.
Exactly.
And I'm not I, this is not a job for me. This is
Hmm.
never going to be a job for me. This is And I'm not even the kind of person that's going to look at the numbers, because the second I start looking at the numbers and think I should be here and I'm actually here,
Oh,
it the fun is gone.
thousand
So
percent.
I'm like, so this is fun. I want to meet new people, make friends, make memories, and talk about Star Wars. So like,
Exactly.
I absolutely understand, having to get yourself in the mindset of
Yeah.
just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you think about it, you'll
You
never do it.
you will never. Yeah. Yeah. I'm butchering this quote, but it's something like, perfection is the enemy of progress, right?
Yes.
Because I'm sure I butchered pretty much every word in that sentence, but uh, basically, if you wait for everything to be perfect, you will never do absolutely nothing, right?
Yeah.
Um, at some point, you just gotta jump in, right? And as you go, you refine it, but that's also part of the fun, like you said, right? It's kind of like going back, for you, maybe going back 6 months, and you're like, man, that was not great, like your first video, right, or your
Yeah.
second video. But it's also kind of nice to be like, dude, I'm a lot more fluid speaking now.
Yeah.
Like, I have a better structure, right? Even if it's small things, like, dude, now my lighting, people can actually see my face, like, it's always,
Yeah.
just trying to improve a little bit, right? And again, it's just part of the fun.
Yeah. I mean, it took, for me, it was the kind of thing where it took being at Rebel ScumCon last year and meeting, so many creators that I've watched and followed and all that kind of stuff, and talking to them and being like, I have this idea, and getting advice from them, and going home and being like, okay, they all were like giving me advice, and I'm like, if I don't do it now, I've just wasted all of their advice.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was like, that was kind of what pushed me over the edge to
That's
like
good.
finally, go for it. But I mean, as a creator that focuses a lot on the merchandise
Hmm.
side of Star Wars, what I will speak from personal experience, but
Sure.
because toy hunting in 2026 is not the same as it was even 5, 10 years ago. You know, what of some of your more recent experiences with toy hunting? Because I mean, the distribution in my area. So for anybody at Hasbro that wants to watch this video,
Yeah.
please distribute better to Dallas, Texas,
Yeah.
so I can actually get stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's because you're in Dallas, dude. I'm in San Antonio, so it
Yep.
gets to you first, and then it trickles down to me. Sometimes, but so it's funny you bring that up because I just did a stream with his name is Chris. His channel is The Man Collects. Great toy hunter, right? That's basically his main focus, right? He goes out there, dude, like 3 or 4 times a week, right? And several stores. So he's like
Uh,
in it, like dedicated. I go out there 3 or 4 times a year. I feel like
yeah.
I wish
At
I
this
would.
point, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's just whatever. I can make 1,000 excuses, right? But the point is that I don't get out as much as he does. So I brought him in basically because I started noticing in my targets specifically, right? I have two that are very similar distance from me, right? So I go to both, and both of them, they shrunk, specifically the Star Wars section, like a lot.
Mine too. Mine
Like,
too. It's
exactly.
like
So
yeah, it's like
uh,
3 pegs.
it is literally, like, without exaggeration, it's 3 pegs and maybe what, like a foot of one shelf,
Yeah.
whereas before it was, I don't know, let's say 3 feet by all the shelves, right? Like all the way down.
Yeah.
Um And so I'm like, is this just me? And so I brought him on, and nope, sure enough, like you just mentioned, right? This is pretty
Yeah.
widespread. So um theorizing a little bit, whatever little information we have, I'm sure you've heard or experienced, uh, Roscon, right? So Roscon is the term that we give to toy hunting nowadays, especially during the holidays. At Ross, what are they called officially? Ross Dress for Less, right? Basically, a discount store for anybody that doesn't have a Ross, in their area. Um, they buy, liquidated assets, right, from different companies, clothes and tools and stuff, and they'll sell it off, right, cheaper. So it's all brand new product, right? So for example, the toys, right, the figures, they're brand new. They're literally coming from a shipper from Hasbro, right? But they tend to be, and this is the weird part. They Before I would have said they're like 2-year old figures, right? But nowadays, this season, they started knocking out like stuff that was barely at Walmart and Target, for like a month.
Yeah.
Sometimes not even that, dude. Like sometimes I would literally find stuff at Ross before I found it, before I ever saw it at
Oh yeah.
Walmart or Target. So I feel that that's been a very big shift, right? A lot of us hunters, collectors, whatever you want to call us, are now waiting, right, to be like, you know what? I really like this figure. I like everything about it except the price, right? So I don't want to pay $20 for a 3 and 3/4 figure that has literally just a lightsaber, right? No
Yeah.
accessories, no nothing. You know what? I'm gonna wait till it pops up at Ross. And I feel that more and more we're kind of shifting to that mentality. And I'm all for buying cheaper figures, right? Especially when they're brand new and everything. But we do got
Yeah.
to keep in mind that at some point there will be consequences, right? If we don't, I like to say, if we don't vote with our dollars, right? Um, Hasbro is gonna be like, dude, I'm liquidating or selling off like overstock. I don't know, 30% of Star Wars, right? Whereas before I was only selling 10%. You know what? We're gonna cut production by 20% to offset that, right? Like, let's
Yeah.
not make as many because we're not selling them, as much or at the price that we want, right? And so I feel that that Target is one of those symptoms now. I feel that we're
Yeah.
starting to see, Target be like, dude, nobody's buying Star Wars, right? Or very, very few people.
Yeah.
Why am I giving it so much room when I have, let's say, wrestling, which tends to do good, and I have, I don't know what was beside it, like I think it was like Turtles or something like that. Maybe Jurassic Park. Um, and I was like, if those do better, why not, you know, stock more of those, less of the ones that nobody's buying, and I
Yeah.
don't need to order as many from Hasbro because we're not. I'm ending up clearancing them out or whatever, right? And so it's gonna be interesting year, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
this year, and I'm very interested to see how RosCon looks this year. Like this holiday season. Of course, towards the end of the year, I want to see if they actually end up getting as much as they did last year because last year was insane. They were getting NECA, they were getting obviously Hasbro,
Yeah.
and they were getting exclusives, dude, like that.
Yeah.
That some exclusive that had been sold out, at Walmart or Target. Sure enough, they popped up at Ross. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think toy hunting is in for some interesting times.
Yeah. I mean, I've almost, which I don't like it because I love going out and hunting and finding
Hmm.
stuff, but I've shifted to pretty much buying and pre-ordering almost exclusively online now, just because it's to the point where I go out hunting and don't find anything. So,
Yeah, and then the stuff that you do find, right? You're like, dude, 35 bucks, $39, something like that for a Black Series. I'm like, I don't know, like,
especially since GameStop's been completely like
yeah,
wiped off the map at this point, which GameStop was like my go-to for figures, but there's like one within driving distance of me now where there used to be like 10 and they've all closed.
yeah.
So
Very
But
much so.
as a collector, and I know this is a nearly impossible question as a collector, but do you have a favorite piece in your collection?
I have a couple, to be honest with you. And yeah, you're right. Like it's very hard, right? Like I don't think I could narrow it down to just one piece, right? One of my favorite pieces is actually the toys that I was telling you about at the beginning of the stream. The Luke Skywalker, right? That my uncle gave me more years than I want to say, a long time ago. Um, and the little mini rig, right? Uh, the Luke Skywalker has a additional, story to it, which I'll try to give the cliff notes. So I I'm playing with so Luke Skywalker used to join in against like GI Joes, right? Like the 3 3/4 GI Joes. So to me, Luke Skywalker for a long time was like a crappy GI Joe that can't bend, nearly as much as GI Joe, right? But I'd still put him in vehicles and stuff, and he was still like in it. So I'm a kid at this point. I'm playing at our house, and again, we were building a how do you call it? Like the fence, but the like the base was like cinder blocks, for the fence. And I dropped it. I dropped my because I was playing there, and I dropped the Luke Skywalker, and so it was 3 or 4 cinder blocks deep to the point that I can't stick like my hand in, right? And then the way the cinder blocks were, I guess, stacked, right? It basically goes like toot, 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 and goes like to the bottom. So
Oh
there's no
no.
like direct path, right, to get it. And dude, I was devastated, right? I was like, man. And my
Yeah.
dad, I remember my dad trying with like a clothes hanger, like all kinds of stuff, right? Like to try to get it out. He's like, I can't. He's like, and and my dad was like, the only thing is like if I, take a sledgehammer and like, you know, bust the side of the thing. And my mom was like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. So fast forward, uh, God, I don't know, dude, like 10 years, maybe probably more. I'm in college, right? I'm in college at this point. So I've moved out of the house. And so my parents decide to renovate, a big chunk of it. And so all this to say that they knocked down that part of the fence, right? Because they were gonna make it another like they moved the garage. Anyway, not the point. The point is that they bring down that piece of the fence, right? And so I'm talking to my mom. I was off in college, and she's like, yeah, we're moving along with the construction and stuff. They actually just knocked down that old piece of the fence and stuff. I'm like, did anybody see did anybody see Luke? And she's like, oh my god, like I totally forgot about it. And she's like, I think the contractor already took like the rubble out, like they already cleaned it. I was like, please, like just ask him if by any chance, and mind you, this is I don't know 6 7 p.m. So at that like right there and then, my mom calls the main the main guy for the crew. He's like, hey, by any chance did you happen to see a little toy? When and he's like, oh yeah. He's like, but we figured you don't have kids, so we threw it away. And my
Oh
mom was like,
no.
no, like please no, like and he's like, yeah, well we have this like I don't know what to call it, like a depot, right, where they put like all the rubble and stuff, and then they once they have enough, they would ship it out and get it like properly, destroyed or whatever, right? And he's like, well, we just dumped it like there. And anyway, my mom made the guy go and look, like go through the thing, look through the
Yeah.
rubble, and I got my look back, dude. I got my look
Oh,
back after again 10 plus years.
yeah.
And if you see it today, it's over there. It's in a shelf. But if you see it today, it's all like still like caked in some mud, and stuff. Because I was like, this is part of it now. Like
Yeah.
he was in there for again 10, 11
Yeah, dude.
years, and he came back to me. So that's my one of my favorite pieces because it was my literally my first Star Wars figure, right? But it also, like I said, it has that crazy, coming
Yeah.
back to me story.
Yeah. Yeah. What a journey.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
what
it's
a
crazy.
yeah, what a yeah, what a crazy journey
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
one little Luke went on. But yeah, man, that's crazy. I mean, of all the, have you found that your collection is getting more focused as time goes on? Because some people just collect everything. If it's got Star Wars on it, they're gonna buy it. But some people are like, I'm only gonna get Black Series, or I'm only gonna get TBC, or I'm only gonna do Hot Toys, or whatever the case may be. Are you kind of more everything, or do you have a something that you're kind of focusing on now?
Yeah, so I started very much like what you described, right? I started just grabbing anything that had Star Wars, right? And as you quickly run out of room, right, you tend to
Yeah.
start, focusing a little bit more. Um, Black series, I have a lot of Black series. I have a lot of TVC, just in case you can't see it. It's all
Yeah,
over
mine are
there.
over there.
Yeah. My Black series. There's some on these shelves, but there's other shelves that off camera. Um, Black series, dude. To be honest with you, there's been a couple of times, maybe more than a couple, that I'm like, you know what? I'm just not that excited about the line anymore, right? So I started off, pretty wide with Black series, but as they came out with more and more and more and more, I was like, you know what? I definitely need to narrow it down. That I cannot be a completionist. This is I don't even
Yep.
like some of them. To be honest, like I'm sorry to say, but I don't like 100% of the figures that they put out.
Yeah.
Or not that I hate them or anything like that. It's just I'm not as excited, right? For some characters
Yeah.
than others, right? So I was like, no, I need to start narrowing it down. TBC, believe it or not, it took me a long time to get into. I was always into the 3 3/4, right? But as you probably remember back then, there were like movie specifics or show specific
Oh yeah.
lines, right? So you had episode one line, episode two line, episode three line, right? And then you had the Rebels line, which I feel is underrated, to be honest. There's some good like characters in there. um, I think my favorite for 3 3/4 is still the 30th anniversary line. The one with the coin,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
dude. We had such a selection of characters in that line. It is
Yeah, for sure.
insane.
Yeah.
Um, and yes, the maybe the figures by now, by today's standards, they're not that great. Some of the portraits definitely not that great. But in terms of just sheer,
Yeah.
variety, right, of characters,
For
I
sure.
still think I'm sure somebody has compiled the data, but if it's not the top one, it's got to be like the runner up in terms of
Yeah.
like
For sure.
character. And mind you, it didn't run that long. It's
Yeah.
not like Black Series that's been running what 12 years or something by now. Um,
Yeah.
this one was a couple of years, I want to say, maybe not even that. And we
Yeah.
had just so many great characters, right? So that's
Yeah.
still to this day one of my favorite collections. But um, as those lines are not as regular anymore. There's not really a line right now that kind of fills that gap. So
Yeah.
I started moving into TVC, which is funny because I didn't move into them initially because I thought they were kind of expensive for what they were, and this is when they were $10,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I mean, now
Yeah.
looking back at it, I'm like, dude, I should have bought them all. Like,
Yeah. I was like, how do
um,
you feel now?
oh yeah, exactly. Now that they're
Yeah.
$20, which is what Black
Yeah.
Series used to cost, even
Yeah.
what 5 6 years ago. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and we can go on and on about price, but anyway, um, so I've started narrowing down. Spoiler alert! I don't know if you know this, but I like Obi-Wan. So Obi-Wan is just about the only one that I'm like, yeah, I kind of need that one. Like I'm like, no, yeah, no, that's a different one. Yeah, that's fine. I was like, oh, what is that? He's got a different jacket. Sold. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Um, but I've definitely slowed down, with the rest of them. So, for example,
Yeah.
character wise, again, I love Obi Wan. I love Boba Fett. He's still one of my favorite characters. Yes, Book of Boba Fett, all that stuff. Anyway, still to me visually, he's still a great character. I like Mandalorians in general, so Black Series Mandalorians are definitely a subset. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got mine are like over there. We can't see them. Um, and I like clones a lot too, right?
Yep.
Actually, let me see, this
Let's
whole,
see.
let
I
me,
got a shelf of clones right there.
yeah, this whole road there in the middle, that's all clones all across.
Yep.
Um, and everything else, is kind of a per item, basis. Like, okay,
Yeah.
hot toys. I always say I don't collect hot toys, but I already have what, like 6 or 7. I don't even know. Six, I think. And it's been through different, um, how do you call it? Like instances, where I'm like, oh yeah, I really like that one. Like I'm gonna buy it. Or
Yeah.
hey, a buddy of mine is actually selling one for a pretty good price. I'm gonna pick one up. And so that's kind of how I've gotten them, through the years. I'm never at the forefront of hot toys for sure. Like I don't, I see
Yeah.
them and like, yeah, they look awesome. They're great. They're also $350, right? So
Yeah.
three of them, that's a
Yeah.
grand. So you
Yeah.
kind of you
Yeah.
kind of think about it, right? Um, but yes, there's definitely stuff that I'm like, I definitely want it, but I'm like, where is it gonna go, right? I'm obviously bursting at the seams as it is,
Me
and
too.
and you know what the worst part is? Not the worst part, but one of the quote unquote problems is that I feel that both Black Series and TVC are doing so good right now with
Yeah, dude.
with their dude. This last, like, maybe, I don't know, let's say the last 3 waves for both of them, fire.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
why now? Like,
Yeah.
why are
Yep.
you pumping out bangers like left and right? You're more
Yeah.
expensive, right? I have obviously less space, but I want them all. Like, dude, I they're so good now. And so that's obviously part of the balancing act, right? I'm like, okay, they cost more money, so therefore, in theory, I can't buy as many, right? But I
Yeah.
want more of a
Yep.
full wave than I feel like I've ever wanted before. So it's like this
Yeah.
this bad, like, intersection of I want more, but they cost more too.
Yeah.
Um,
I understand that in a way that I feel is unhealthy because I mean I can't tell you the last time I'm trying to think of what the last Black Series wave was where I didn't get the whole wave.
yeah, there you
It's been a while.
go.
It's been a
Yeah,
while. It's like they're more expensive, they're harder to find, but
yeah,
everything that they're announcing is just
dude,
I have to
exactly.
have it.
I mean, what was that? Not the last door. The last one was the mall, right? I think. Well, at the
Yeah,
at the time of the recording, I think the last one was the one for Mall Shadow Lord, and all of those
yeah,
look great, by the way. Like,
yeah,
yes, like Mall, is an update. There's some added stuff. I wouldn't say it's brand new, but it's still a very nice figure. Like the previous version was already a good figure, I think.
yeah,
And this one, I'm sure, is a little bit better at least. And so that wave looks pretty solid, right? Like pretty good, all of them.
yeah.
But man, the one where they had Quinlan Voss, freaking Cal Katarn, and I'm like, dude, these are characters I've been waiting for 4 years. Like,
It
are
was
you
it
kidding
was
me? Like,
it was it was let's see, it was Quinlan Voss, Kyle Katarn, Jedi Jedi Dooku, and
yes.
mm, who else was in that wave? Was it no? Was it the new Django?
Oh,
No, that was
maybe.
the wave before.
No, yeah, you're right. That was way before,
Oh
which is
no, it was
also a good figure.
the Inquisitor from Rebels, the second sister or seventh
Oh, the
sister or
Seventh
whichever.
Sister, yeah.
Yeah,
Voiced
whichever
by Sarah
Inquisitor that
Michelle
was.
Gellar, by the way, who's
Yeah,
my forever crush. But yeah, yeah. So like all of them were great,
yeah,
dude. And so that's what I'm saying. I'm like, dang it, man! Like now you start putting out like amazing stuff every
yeah.
time. Um, the exclusives, have honestly been pretty solid. Oh, I saw it. I saw it. Yeah.
That thing
I
was so hard to get. It's not even funny.
dude, I was at and I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I was at San Diego Comic Con for my very first time ever last year, and I got it. I got
Oh,
it at the Hasbro booth.
lucky you.
Yes and no, because I mean, yes, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm so happy that I got it, but it's massive, right? It's
Yeah,
it's a big box. Like, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, it's the episode 3 2 pack with Anakin and Obi-Wan fighting, but it comes with a bunch of stuff, right? It comes with the platform droids, it comes with lava effects, extra hands. It's incredible. Hands down, one of the best, if not the best, exclusive that they've done, right?
for sure.
Without getting into price or availability, right? Because it was a San Diego Comic Con exclusive. But here's the thing: it's a big box. Like it's way bigger than I
Yeah,
thought it
it
was
is a
gonna be,
big
dude.
box.
Because
Oh
it,
yeah, no, I got it in the box. I was like, holy cow, this box is huge.
yeah, because it's deep. That's the thing. Like it's like
Yeah,
this deep, and let alone, of course, wide and stuff. But Hasbro was like, all right, man, here you go. It gives you a gigantic like canvas bag like that. And I'm like, dude, I by myself with my backpack, I'm bumping into people because it's pretty busy. I was like, this
yeah,
thing is gonna get like smushed. So there I am, like trying to like navigate out of the building with my gigantic bag, getting hit left and right because people are just, going, coming, all of that, right? And I'm like, dude, if the the bubble like cracks or something, I was like, dude, I am gonna be so mad. I'm like it because I stood in line, all of that stuff.
yeah,
Luckily, it made it fine. I'm not gonna say absolutely perfect, but the bubble was fine. There's like a little crease, but I'm nitpicking at that point. But I still had to hold it back to the hotel. So there I am, dude. July heat, right? And
yeah,
I'm there like holding this gigantic bag. Mind you, I already have my backpack, of course, with stuff in it. So I'm walking a couple blocks to try to catch a bus to try to get it back to the hotel. It,
yeah,
it was a whole thing, right? And then I get there, I'm like, how am I flying with this thing? Like, how am I gonna get back?
yeah. I mean, I got, I'd say almost ungodly luck because I got mine from a guy on Facebook Marketplace,
Oh,
and he gave it to me for what I would consider a insanely good price, considering the fact that SDCC ended and they automatically like skyrocketed in
yes.
price. So like I feel like I got it for a steal. It was down the street and
No
it was
way.
done.
Nice.
And but yeah, I mean,
That's perfect.
Black Series. I mean, do you have maybe it's a scene like this or a specific character or something that a bucket list for you that hasn't been made in either TVC or Black Series that you were just like,
Hmm.
if you could tell Hasbro, I want you to make this, what would that be? What sticks out?
So two items, and it's funny because they're pretty much from the same episode of Clone Wars. But one, it's gonna be pretty obvious. It's an Obi-Wan. All right, I know, shocker. It's an Obi-Wan in Mandalorian armor when he infiltrated
Yeah, dude.
Mandalore.
Yeah, dude.
Um, I have the hot toys because, and that's the only, literally the only hot toys that I pre-order ever, because when I saw they were making it, I was like, I need it. It's expensive. I know, but nobody else has made it. Well, actually, I take that back. Funko did make that version. A
Yeah.
friend of mine from YouTube, actually got it for me. But I've always wanted that version of Obi Wan. Right? I think he looks amazing. The armor, the like he just wears the armor so well. Um, and so when I saw the Hot Toys make it, like I said, I actually pre-ordered that one. That's my only ever pre-order for Hot Toys. But that was what 2 years ago. Yeah, that was a while back.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years ago, and it came out last year, something like that. Anyway, I'm still waiting for a TVC. Right, I'm still waiting for a Black Series.
Yeah.
So when they finally, because they have to, believe, I
Oh,
have
for
to
sure.
believe they got to. And when
For
they finally
sure.
put that out, right, I'm gonna end up buying multiples, dude. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep some in cart. I'm gonna, get one out and pose it and all that stuff. But the other one, and again, kind of on the same vein, Satine, Duchess
Yeah.
Satine.
Yeah.
I just need a Satine. I just need a Satine anything at this point. Like,
Yeah.
if Hot Toys does one, I might have to, jump on that too. But I see it more plausible that Hasbro makes one, because they
Yeah.
finally started catching up with Padme, man. Like I was like, dude, like that took a while. Like, come
That
on,
took forever.
yeah, man. I'm like, we passed the freaking 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. Um, the anniversary for episode 2, right, was what, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So I'm like, yeah, man, like couldn't we get some Padmes up like in here? So finally, Black Series, both Black Series and TVC, right? Finally started, getting us some Padme. So I have hope. Probably not gonna happen for a little while, but those two would be my picks that the moment they announce them, I'm pre-ordering, like hands down.
Yeah. I mean, Obi-Wan in the Mando armor. I'm like, if we can get Ventress in her like bounty hunter get
Right?
up, I
That
feel
just
like
came
we could
out
do
like,
Obi. Yeah, I feel like
yeah.
we could do Obi-Wan in the Mando armor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I would
I'm like, first of
definitely
all,
get both
you
of
can
those.
kit bash in like 2 minutes, right? I mean,
Oh sure,
you basically got everything already.
yeah,
Minus maybe like the paint, and even then, it's not a weird color or anything like that. So I'm sure you already got that shade of red, that shade of like dark gray, etc. But anyway, I'm going too deep in it. But
but
that's those two for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, I would buy both of those. So I'm not going to complain. But I got some rapid fire questions
Let's
for
do
you,
it.
and I say rapid fire, and if it has an explanation, you can obviously give one. But favorite Star Wars movie,
Episode 3.
favorite of the shows because there are so many now.
There are so many now. That's a very good point. I'm sorry, but Obi Wan just got me, man. And going a little bit deep into it, yes, I absolutely wholeheartedly agree. It wasn't the best show. I don't think it's the best show. It wasn't, how do you call it? Specially well handled, right? Now we know more details, but you could tell that it was rushed, that there was budget cuts, that there was all this stuff, right? But the heart of the character was there, and
Yeah,
this is my personal opinion. I think Ewan McGregor absolutely crushed the role again, of course,
for
and
sure.
he brought so much gravitas, to his expressions, to the dialogue, that yes, even when maybe the story wasn't where I wanted it to be, right? I don't think it was successful, in terms of viewership. Probably not even merchandise, to be honest. I still find myself going back and watching it, and still getting that feeling, right,
Yeah,
of him, going through everything, all that range of emotions, right? But yeah, so Obi-Wan for me.
yeah. I mean, uh, do you think it should have been a movie? Because I think that's what a lot of people's big like thing with it is.
Yeah,
I think originally it was discussed as a movie, and then it
correct.
got made into a show, and then it just feels like they had to come up with a bunch of extra
Yeah, and
stuff to
which is funny, right? Because it's six
make it a
episodes,
show.
but you're like, dude, that's nothing, right, for a show.
Yeah,
um yes and no. I like that it was episodic because it definitely gave some room to breathe, right? And again, kind of see the arc, right?
yeah,
Like where he is, where he's going. He doesn't want to go, but he eventually gets there, right? Could they have done it a movie? I think so. I do think so, but they would have had to cut off a lot of things that I do feel, added value, right, to the story. Now, having said that, I don't know if you've seen the Patterson cut for it.
I
Um,
haven't. I need to though.
yeah, I was gonna say it's actually pretty good. So that made me believe even more that it could have worked as a movie. I think more people would have seen it, if it was a movie, right? Like, let's
Yeah,
be honest. I think it would have been out there, in theaters and stuff like that. Um, but they had an uphill, battle from the beginning, right? Pretty much. So, but yeah, I do recommend the Patterson cut for it.
yeah. That's I definitely need to track that down and watch that because I've heard you're not the first person to tell me that
Yeah.
it's definitely worth watching. I was gonna ask you favorite Star Wars character, but I feel like I don't need to do. I feel like I don't need to do that now.
Yeah.
I mean, it is Obi-Wan, I assume.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Do you have a favorite Star Wars video game?
Ooh, video game. Yes, I think for me it's gonna have to be Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast. That again, old video game. Well, old-ish, right? There's some older ones, but that's the first game that I was actively playing, right? and there was like two other people in my class back then that were also playing it, right? So that was the first video game that I could relate or connect to, other gamers, let's say. Mind you, this is in the infancy of the internet, so I wasn't really like, going into
Yeah.
chat rooms and stuff like that. So sort of that thing, I'm like, hey, how did you pull this off? It's like, I'm stuck here. And I was like, hey man, like, how do you do this? Like, I got it halfway, but like that kind of stuff. The story I always thought was great. Jedi Academy, the follow up, was better mechanics, but the story wasn't quite, like as engaging. So yeah, Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast.
Do you have a favorite Star Wars vehicle?
Ooh, vehicle. Let's see. I like ships in general, and I really like capital ships. Within that,
Okay.
and so I think one of my favorite, probably, yeah, I think it is my favorite capital ship is the Venator,
Yeah.
the what are they called? Republic attack cruiser, right? Technically, but yeah, I think the Venator.
I mean, is your I the next one? The next question I have is favorite lightsaber, but is that just Obi-Wan's?
Oh, lightsaber design. I don't. You know what? I actually I do like Obi-Wan's. I actually like episode 1 Obi-Wan because I thought that was a very
Yes.
original sort of, all the elements are there, but at the same time
Yeah.
you can tell it's different, right? Like it's got the chrome and some black and all that stuff. But I will say I really liked Jedi Jedi version Jedi Knight Dooku's lightsaber. I actually really like that design. Once I saw it up first in the show, but then once I saw it like up close, I kind of like that one quite a bit.
Yeah. Do this question's always interesting. Do you have a Star Wars hot take, something that you say on the internet and nobody
Oh, no,
everybody gets mad at you?
yeah, dude. I feel like I have only hot takes sometimes, man. The way the trolls attack me, but yes, I think I do. Although, and I think time is gonna not yet, but going to prove me right. This is my hot take. I think that the prequel trilogy, right, episode 1, 2, and 3, have a better story than the original trilogy. What I
Ooh,
mean by this, here we go.
okay.
Follow me down this rabbit hole.
All
What I
right,
mean
I
by
gotta hear
better
this.
is more complicated, more layers to it, more characters, right, involved, and they don't really make you feel that good, which is something that the original trilogy, we all heard it 1,000 times, right? The hero's journey, you clearly know where you stand, right? You're like, yes, I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm going on this adventure, and I'm a good guy, and I'm gonna beat the bad guy, right? And yes, of course, there's ups and downs, right? Like with any good story, and then you more or less at the end, right, end up with, okay, we won, we did what we needed to do, and happy endings, right? However, the prequel trilogy starts off kind of the opposite, right? Starts off with the Jedi, they won a long time ago, so they're in power, and now you see them getting complacent, right? Getting cocky, getting sloppy, right? Like you have a Sith Lord, literally, you're having breakfast with the Sith Lord, like
Yeah,
come on. And so you see it like, hey man, just because they're very powerful doesn't mean they're right, or doesn't mean they're all powerful, right? Even though
yeah,
they start to believe it. And so it's kind of that, dynamics of humanity, right? Like ultimately, a good story has to reflect on who you are and what you are, right? And I think the prequel trilogy does a better job because it starts showing all the flaws, right? All the flaws in the Jedi, even in Obi-Wan, right? Like with him being like, no man, like this is the way we're doing it, and that's it, right? I was like, okay, but why can't you be a little more flexible? Maybe if you were a little more flexible, Anakin wouldn't act up, as much as he does. And again, snowballing into a lot of
yeah,
stuff, right? That you're like, you know what? Yeah, like that's my dad right there. Like if he was, a little more flexible, then I would have been, so and so. So it's got more layers. It's got more tone shift. It has more I don't know if I can call it like psychological, elements to it. But I
yeah.
do
Sure.
feel that, the story is deeper, right? Like it again, it just basically is a more complicated story.
I, when you first said it, I was like, "What is this guy saying?"
Yeah, I was
And the
gonna
more you
say
explained it, I'm
when
like,
when you
"Okay."
first said, you're like, and we're ending the stream. Like, here we go.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't disagree with it
Yeah,
as
that's what
much
I'm
as I
saying,
figured.
man. It's a hot take, but I kind of feel, especially honestly, especially when I feel that people are starting to slowly, very slowly, move to that camp.
Yeah,
Is now when they see the sequel trilogy. The sequel trilogy is the best thing that happened to the prequel trilogy.
I
you know?
that is not a hot take at
Yeah,
all. I
exactly.
absolutely can agree with that. But all right, I got a game. If you're down to play a game,
Let's do it.
you are General Kenobi, so I'm gonna have you blind rank some Jedi, but I'm not gonna give you Obi Wan because I feel like that would be too easy.
Okay, okay.
um, so you've got spaces 1 through 5.
1 through 5. Okay.
And the first one I'll give you is
Is it? I'm
Qui
sorry.
Gon Jinn.
Is it still like one is top? Like just in case,
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so one
Yeah.
is top, five is lowest.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
First one,
So,
Qui Gon. You said.
yeah.
Okay, Qui Gon. I'm gonna put Qui Gon at a 3.
Okay. I was gonna say you love Obi Wan, but how do you feel about Qui Gon?
Well, in general, the character, I wish we've gotten so much more right from him. Tales of the Jedi, amazing, job at, dude. They're like what, like 17 minutes, those three,
Yeah.
episodes put together, and they gave us
Yeah.
so much. It was crazy. Anyway, not going to rant. All right, let's go.
Um. Let's see. Let's go with a new-ish one. I guess it's been
Okay.
a little while, but Kanan from Star Wars Rebels.
Ooh, best freaking like death, right? One of the few real deaths, but
Oh yeah.
best thing that ever happened to Rebels. Um, I'm gonna put him at a 4.
Alright. How about Mace Windu?
Mm, I'm actually not that big of a fan of Mace Windu. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna put him at 5.
It's okay. You're not gonna hurt my feelings at all. How about uh how about Ahsoka Tano? Arguably one of the faces of Star Wars now.
Dude, yeah, that's gonna say what a journey for that character. Holy smokes! And I was there from when she first came out, and I thought the exact same thing everybody did. Who is this, and
Yeah.
how can I delete it from this movie? Um, so well, I'm down to just 1 and 2, right? So I'm gonna take a
One and
gamble
two.
here and put her at number 2.
All right.
So, dude, if
That's
you
okay.
say
I think
if you say something like, freaking what's his name? Man, I had the name and I'm blanking out now. But if you say like like, oh, like said Jukasa, like the kid, that gets taken down in 2
it's
minutes,
it.
I'm like, dang
No,
it.
I think you'll be okay because that means your number one spot is Yoda.
Okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
No, I'm not gonna give you anything crazy. I'm not gonna say Kiadi Mundi is number
Yeah,
one or
right.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
So
he's lately he was number 1 at creating some some discord, within the fans, but yeah.
so you ended up with Mace Windu at 5, Kanan at 4, Qui Gon at 3, Ahsoka at 2, and Yoda at 1.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. Yeah.
I can't argue with that. But I'm curious. By the time this video comes out, Maul Shadow Lord will have already
Yeah.
aired. We are rapidly approaching the
Oh yeah.
Mandalorian and Grogu. Ahsoka season 2 is probably coming out this year.
I think
A
so.
third Cal Kestis game is on the
Yes.
horizon. Starfighter next year. There's so much either already announced or rumored or being talked about out there. What is of all the Star Wars projects that are approaching? What's got you most excited?
You know what? Again, maybe a little bit of a cop out. So, for this year, I'm actually excited to just see Star Wars back in theaters, man. Like
Yeah,
I just want to, get that experience again. It's been 7 years since we had a Star Wars movie in
yeah,
theaters. When in my mind back then, I was like, dude, we're getting a Star Wars movie every year. I was like, sometimes I'm
yeah,
sure we're gonna get two a year, and then
yeah.
nothing, right? Like just never happened. So I'm very excited for that. I do have my reservations because I feel that the publicity machine is not firing in all cylinders. For Grogu, like Mando and Grogu. That's another topic, but I'm super excited to get back into theaters and watch Star Wars. Right, so that's one.
Yes.
But honestly, dude, next year the screening, right, of the unaltered New
Yeah,
Hope, or as it was known back then, just Star Wars, right? Like just
yeah,
Star Wars in its, I'm hoping, in its purest form, right? Or it's the first form, theatrical form, whatever you want to call it, in
yeah,
theaters. I'm actually very excited about that.
yeah,
Um, Not to take away from all the other projects, I'm sure they're gonna be great. I'm very excited about Ahsoka. But I said it with season one. Ahsoka, I really enjoyed it, but not because of Ahsoka. I don't know if that makes sense. Like not because of
yeah.
the character itself, just kind
Sure.
of like everything that was going on,
Yeah,
around her. And season two, I'm kind of going that same route, Like I'm excited for Balin's Skull, like his story. As we all know, the Mortis gods, like all of that stuff. But I'm like,
yeah,
if you take out Ahsoka, I think the show would still hold. So I don't know.
yeah,
But I know it's a weird thing to say, but I am excited for the story, more than like the character development. But yes, so like I said, this year, Grogu and Mando in theaters finally, and then
yeah,
next year, the 1977 version of Star Wars, right? Like finally.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I have a version of the original
Hmm.
theatrical, so that's the version that I watch. But yeah, I mean, seeing it back in theaters
Yeah.
will be something else. I mean, but this question I always love asking because I always get a very different answer. But in a hypothetical world, if new president of Lucasfilm, Dave Filoni,
Yeah.
came to you and said, "We need something new in Star Wars. It can be a movie, a show, a comic, a video game, animated live action, theme park ride, whatever you want it to be, whatever idea you give me, Lucasfilm can't say no to making it. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
What's the like one thing in Star Wars if you could create anything you wanted, what would it be?
So I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna give you my personal, like, just what I want to see, right? And it's a very cheap, answer. I want to see young Obi-Wan messing around with young Satine, right? We've heard like little inklings here and there of how they ended up together and how they were being pursued, right? And all that stuff. But I want to see it, right? Like give me an animated, give me a Tales of Satine, right? And
Yeah,
you give us 6 episodes or 6 shorts, and you tell us, the core story there, right? Again, that's what I want to see, right? Like what I wish I could turn on Disney Plus right now, and that's on. That's what I want to see. Now, what I think would be nice for Star Wars, right? It's actually something that I thought was going to happen. I'm not so sure anymore, and that's, let's get away from the Skywalkers. Let's get away from the Skywalkers characters and period of time if we need to, right?
yeah,
Let's just go out there. You have literally, now you have two galaxies, by the way, not just one. Like you got two possible galaxies to mess with. But let's get out there, and I'm talking about, okay, you want to go 20,000 years into the past, let's do it. You want to go 20,000 years into the future, let's do that.
yeah,
Just let's break away from this like 50-year period of time, right, in the story where everything
yeah,
happens, right? And
yeah,
yes, Acolyte did a little bit of that. I praised them for going that route. uh we all know how that turned out, but I was excited to be like, the Skywalkers aren't even a thought at this point, right? Like nobody knows them, nobody talks about them. There's no Skywalker. Well, there might be, but anyway, not that we know of, right? But I'm like, okay, that didn't quite work out, because it was still
Yeah.
contemporary, right, to the movies. How about we go off the reservation, right? Like, let's just go, let's exaggerate, like I said, go far into the past, go far into the future, right? And let's see
Yeah.
what we can do there.
Yeah. I think they will. I mean, I think they have to let
I'm hoping so. Yeah.
a little bit of the heat from the acolyte wear
Yeah.
off, but I don't think the acolyte has completely wiped that option off the table,
I
and
really
I
hope
hope it
not.
hasn't.
Um,
Yeah.
Out of those like 17 movies they announced, 5 years ago or something. Well, obviously Obi-Wan was the main thing for me, but um, that what is it? That Dawn of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I was actually very excited about that one, and now it
Yeah.
seems like it's the one they talk about the least, right? I know in theory they haven't said it's canceled, but it's definitely not moving. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I'm hoping, like you said, I'm hoping they're just waiting for stuff to cool down. Maybe in a year
Yeah.
or two, they're like, all right, now we're ready, right?
Yeah.
So I do hope they follow through with that one.
Yeah. I'm curious, this is a Star Wars show, but also, I'm always interested to see what, some people's other, nerdy interests are. So
Sure.
are there any shows, movies, fandoms that you're a fan of outside of Star Wars?
Too many, my friend. Too many. I grew up in a time where being a geek was definitely not cool. All right. So I had to be a closet geek, right? And what that means is that you would just, whatever Toonami was showing at the time, like, oh,
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z, I'll take it. Uh, like one of your buddies downloaded, let's say Gundam, right? I'm like, oh, dude, I like that. So I I never made the distinction of like, oh, this is anime, like, oh, this is, Western animation. Like, it was just like shows, right? Like, give me everything, dude. Like, give me sci-fi, give me,
Yeah.
fantasy, like all of that stuff. So, uh, biggest ones probably. Oh well, I mentioned Gundam. I'm a big Gundam fan. Um, I'm a big anime fan in general. Too many to list, of course, but within those, right? Dragon Ball Z, I think we all got to see. It was one of the few that kind of broke through, right, to the U.S. market and stuff in the early days. So that one will always have a place in my heart. Gundam, like I said, um, I do enjoy, for example, Battlestar Galactica quite a bit. The revival series. Well, sorry, the 2004 version. There might be a revival soonish, right? But that version, that show, believe it or not, I think that show is probably the show that I rewatch the most. Like at least once a year, I'll start episode one, and then all of a sudden I'm in season three already. Like, dude, like
Yeah.
I cannot stop. Um, Honestly, even more than some Star Wars shows. Like some Star Wars shows, I'm like, I'm gonna watch this episode because this one's cool, and then I'm like, I'm good, moving on.
Yeah.
But that one, like I said, it's really really good. Anyway, and in terms of fantasy, for example, Lord of the Rings, I absolutely love it. Um, I never really got into the toys, and I kind of wish I would have picked up a couple, back then from Toy Biz. But I never really collected Lord of the Rings, but I love the stories. I love the movies. I've actually been enjoying the shows quite a bit. Um, Man, like I said, just too many. There's this cartoon because it was Western animation called Exo Squad, and it's not that very well known. It's back from the 90s, and I watched it like 2 years ago again, and it just blew my mind. Like the complications of the story, like they went way harder than they needed to. And
Yeah.
so, but I was always fan of the toy line, and so I that kicked off, me collecting those again. Um, but yeah, man, like I said, trying to think, but well, I mean, Marvel, I think, now everybody's a Marvel fan, right? But I was actually a comic book fan, but back when I was a
Yeah.
kid, my favorite superhero was and still kind of is Spider-Man. So yes, very excited. We just saw the new trailer, right,
Yeah.
for No Way Home, and DC I do like, but still Marvel holds the top spot for me in terms of the big two houses. But I mean, I'm a geek. through and through. And of course,
Yeah,
we can talk about movies and stuff like that, right? Like their own cinematic universes, Dune, et cetera, et cetera. Like I mostly, I think I've mostly dabbled in the majority of the, big properties, right? Like Harry Potter. I was never a super fan, but I've seen those movies like, I don't know, 5, 7 times each. Um, I read like three of the books. I never read them all, but I'm not a big reader, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, I'm all over the place, really. But
yeah,
Star Wars, of course, is near and dear to my heart.
yeah. I mean, so kind of to close it out, I mean, what is the future for the bunker? I mean, what's the future look like for the channel? What are your plans for it, for the rest of the year, and
Yeah.
anything big you want to talk about going on?
Sure, man. Yeah. Well, General Canoe's Bunker is the channel. Shameless plug. But this year, to be honest, is a little bit of a, how can I say it, of a, like, maybe like a transition year for me. Last year was great. Last year was insane. Not to brag, just to sort of put it into context, right?
Yeah,
I got to go to Japan, right? Which in on itself, like if that's the only thing I did last year, that would have made it, an incredible year, right? But I got to go to Japan. I got to be in Celebration Japan, right? Star Wars Celebration Japan. I got to go to San Diego Comic Con for the very first time. Dude, I was like from here to the monitor, right here, where George Lucas was, at
oh,
Hall H. I
yeah.
I like to tell people that I tickle his pant leg, as he was walking, because I was very close to, like, it was kind of surreal, to be honest.
Yeah,
Um, you know, and then we had a great time at Rebels Comic Con, right? We got to hang out with everybody. It was like a big old reunion, honestly. Like
yeah,
it was more of a hangout, right? That just happened to
yeah,
happen, at a Star Wars convention.
for
But
sure.
it was ridiculously fun. Here in town, so I'm in San Antonio. We have SpaceCon, which is a huge convention. They bring like big names, right? Um, I got to host the reunion panel for Battlestar Galactica,
Yeah,
including Edward James Olmos, dude. So I had Edward James
yeah.
Olmos, like, literally, like, sitting next to me, laughing at my dumb jokes, dude, as I was as I was hosting the panel. And that was
Yeah,
so surreal, dude. Like, I don't know, it was a, not a weird in a bad way experience, but just like a, like, you're not really ready for it, like you think
yeah, for
you'll be all
sure.
right, but that man is that he's like, he's like Luke Skywalker, right? Like, he's got that sort of presence, right? Like Mark Hamill does himself, right?
Yeah,
He just has that weight about him, moment he walks in a room, it's all about him, so that, so what I'm trying to say is last year was kind of crazy, right? Now this year, I'm actually trying to tone it down a little bit. And this is why, though, because
yeah.
next year is the freaking 50th anniversary of Star Wars, and there is a lot going on.
Oh yeah,
Once again, Star Wars Celebration, right? Which I'm definitely going. It's gonna be in Los Angeles. We got the return of A New Hope, or the return of original Star Wars, right? I'm hoping there's a ton more happening that they haven't told us yet, right? We got Starfighter, finally, also coming out. New story, right? New character. So
yeah,
that's exciting times. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that next year is gonna be very, very busy, right? So very crazy.
yeah,
So this year, to be honest, I wanna refocus a little bit, on content creation, in terms of, just being a little bit better. Um, Again, I don't have to tell you, but sometimes you're just like running on automatic, right? Like you're
yeah,
just like, hey, I gotta crank something out. Like, I gotta post something. I gotta, keep up with the algorithm and keep up with everybody else. And you're just trying to, as quickly as you can, put stuff out there. So this year I've been trying to, again, slow down a little bit and take a look at. I'm like, all right, is that thumbnail really the best I can do, or Could I
Yeah.
maybe tweak it a little bit more, right? And
Yeah.
hey, is my editing really like okay, or is it still choppy? Like that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, right? Which, as again, as you know, it takes time, right? And there's only so many hours to the day, so I'm trying, like I said, to be a little bit better in terms of how I produce content, because I feel that next year we're gonna hit the ground running, right? There's just gonna be a
Yeah.
ton of stuff, and I kind of want to be able to, react properly and put out, good quality content for people to watch, right, and enjoy. But yes, so long-winded answer. I still want to do conventions, right? I love doing conventions. Um, if anybody will have me, I would love to still continue to host panels, right? Big or small, that doesn't matter to me. Like it's just about the experience, right? And then, like we mentioned, at the beginning, I just want this to still be fun, right? So I
Yeah.
wanna, I wanna chat with cool people, right? I wanna meet, new creators. I wanna, hear new takes. Like, all right, this is, again, I'm old, dude. So I wanna see what the young kids these days are, what is their Star Wars like? What is their wish list look like, right? Like, what do they want to see? Um,
Yeah.
that, like, that stuff is exciting to me, because I see, uh newer generations, right, like stepping up and creating awesome things, and just keeping the hobby alive, right, which is how it should be, right? Like, so I just
Yeah.
want to see them like go forward. um but yeah, so one of my targets for this year, hopefully I can showcase, members of the community, of the creative community, members of the Star Wars community, and maybe shed a little bit of light on some of them, right? If they haven't been, uh they're not like super well known yet, or stuff like that. So if I can use my platform to do that, that's something that I've
Yeah.
always enjoyed doing. But yeah, man, I think it's gonna be a fun year. Toy hunting, definitely spending less, because last year was nuts.
Yeah.
But as we said, right, as long as the hobby keeps being fun, I'm gonna keep making my silly videos, man.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we will get to hang out at Rebel ScumCon this year.
Yeah, man,
I'm
for sure.
hoping I'm hoping that 2027 will be my first celebration. I am
Let's do it, man.
saving every penny I can find to
Yeah.
go into the jar
So,
for celebration.
rumors are that we're gonna hear soon when tickets go live, right? Because,
I
as you
hope
know,
so.
tickets go live this year, right? Like
Yeah.
they'll go out. I'm thinking like June-ish.
Yeah.
But as you know, you gotta jump on them like as soon as they go live, dude. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of nuts. It's kind of
It's
nuts.
been it's been one of those things where I'm texting Tony
Yeah.
like all the time, like, "Hey man, I'm nervous about tickets," and he's like, "I already told you, dude, you'll be fine."
Yeah. Yeah, Tony's great, man. Like he always has, his ear to the ground. So,
Yeah, he's
yeah,
the guy for celebration stuff for
absolutely.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, as soon
But
as he says buy it, I'm like, dude, I don't
yeah,
even look at it. Like I just, purchased, done.
yep, yep,
But yes, I'm excited, because that's gonna make it real, right? Like, once you see the
yeah,
tickets, once you get them, you're like, all right, bro, like, now I gotta
yeah,
start thinking about flights, I gotta start thinking about,
yep,
hotels,
yep,
transportation, blah blah, all of
yep,
that good stuff, man. But yeah, hopefully you can make it, man. That'd be awesome
yeah.
to for
I
us to
hope
hang out
so.
there.
But thank you so much for coming on and hanging out. Um, real quick, let everybody know where they can follow you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, dude. This was absolutely fun, and like I said, a little bit overdue. But so General Canoe's Bunker is my channel on YouTube, but you can also find us at Instagram, Threads, TikTok under the same name, slight variations. But yeah, basically, if you search General Canoe's Bunker, hopefully I'm the only one. That's what pops up. So yeah, I greatly appreciate it if you check us out. We're on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and Facebook. I was forgetting Facebook. But yeah,
All right, man. Thank you so much for coming on. And until the next one, we will see you later. May the force be with you.
always.